right, coming up this morning on Wake Up America, a lot more, but first, headlines with Alex Kramer. Hey, Alex.
Hey, Rob. Yeah, now let's take a look at today's business headlines. And with that, we're going to welcome in global business analyst Hillary Fordwich and business and markets analyst and Newsmax contributor Seth Denson. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Hey, good morning.
All right, let's start with the markets like we always do, which ended the week way up on Friday, and futures are also up ahead of the opening bell. So, Seth, what can investors expect as we start a brand new week?
Well, we got a lot of reporting coming out this week, so it'll be interesting to see how investors react. We've seen them react relatively, well, not relatively, just volatilely based on information. You got May home sales coming out. That's going to be a big one. You got the final Q1 GDP growth. You got purchasing managers index, personal consumption expenditures, and you got some European data. So a lot of data coming out. Let's see what investors, how they respond to it. If it's positive, it'll be positive. If it's negative, it could be negative.
All right, now let's take a listen to President Biden yesterday at the G7 summit announcing a brand new global infrastructure plan investment. Take a listen.
Today, we officially launched the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment. We collectively have dozens of projects already underway around the globe. And I'm proud to announce the United States will mobilize $200 billion in public and private capital over the next 5 years for that partnership.
All right, Hillary, you just heard President Biden there. So what exactly will that $200 billion go to?
Well, let's hope it goes to things like stimulating the economy in places where the economies desperately need it. And it's now not just going to be the Chinese that are doing this. As we know, the Chinese have done this throughout Africa, really scary in Africa, where critical minerals, iridium that goes into every single cell phone, this is all basically owned by the Chinese. So let's hope what this does is balance things out internationally, particularly throughout Europe. My fear is, though, I don't know whether this is really going to get to those economies. I don't know if it's going to get to critical infrastructure like he's saying, because what happens usually, such funding usually stays at the top, stays in bureaucracies, stays in the administration, and does not trickle down like it's supposed to.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. The EV giant is now looking for a bit of a spark. Tesla CEO Elon Musk saying that he is worried about keeping Tesla out of bankruptcy, and the company is cutting jobs as part of Musk's plan to cut about 10% of his company's employees. Seth, should Tesla shareholders be worried at this point?
Well, I mean, listen, anytime you get a CEO talking about bankruptcy, I think investors are going to get a little skittish, but they still have confidence in Elon and his ability to manage his company well. Restructuring some debt may not be a bad thing. But let's not forget, Tesla had its first ever profitable year in 2020. That was 18 years in the making. So I think Tesla's restructuring. I think investors are going to be fine. It's down 40%, so this is not the time to sell it. You might want to hold on to it for a little bit, let Elon ride that sucker back up.
How about this story? A one-of-a-kind LeBron James triple logo man card has sold for $2.4 million at auction. Well, this is a lot of money. It fell way short of the high $7 million appraisal that it actually received. Hillary, I see you shaking your head here. What's going on? Was this a steal?
Well, actually, it was. Well, it depends who you want to believe here, Alex. I mean, Golden, that's the firm that does the online auctioning. They had predicted, oh, this could go as much as 10 million. This could go as much as even 15 million. That was the predictions. Obviously, they were hyping this pre-market. Why? Obviously, they take a percentage. But don't forget that Honus Wagner card, that baseball player, that has stayed at 6.6 million, as you mentioned, nearly 7 million for years, for many decades. But what does this really say? I don't know. Is this going back to where Seth was talking about earlier, the markets? Is this an indicator that people are softening everywhere? I mean, QT, quantitative easing, was going to be coming on, but what's happened? The markets actually rallied on Friday. Does this mean that instead of going to triple logo baseball cards and NBA cards, does this mean the markets are going to go back and the markets are going back up? That's maybe what it means. But 2.4 million for that triple logo card was way short of what Golden predicted. I predict the markets, the futures are up with the FTSE, futures are up with the Shanghai index. What does that mean? I think people are looking to get back in the stock market.
I still cannot imagine millions of dollars for a card. That's just incredible to me. All right, guys, let's end on a bit of a fun one. Right Brand is releasing, get this, a bacon-inspired perfume to celebrate 100 years of selling bacon. Seth, do you want your woman to smell like bacon?
Why did you come to me with this one, Alex? No, there's zero answer I could give here that does not land me in hot water at some point other than no. I do not want my wife to smell like bacon.
Quickly, Hillary, would you rock this perfume?
Well, you know what I think rocks? What really rocks? We're talking about it. When was the last time we talked about perfume on air? Their marketing people certainly know what they're doing. So the winners here are the marketing team. They deserve the award of the day. Some people open their windows when they're cooking bacon so the whole house doesn't smell like it. And like Seth, I'll punt.
Hey, you know what, Hillary, that's a great point. Here we are talking about it. So there you go. All right. Thank you, Hillary Fordridge and Seth Denson, for coming on this morning. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Alex.